It was 3:10 in the afternoon, the time of day I look forward to the most. This was the hour each afternoon that offered a bit of much-needed semi-peacefulness in the kitchen at my father's diner. It was the time of day when, for a split second, I could finally take a break. Over the past 4 hours, I had flipped at least 24 burgers, fried an equal number of clam baskets, plated a dozen meatloaf specials, and made a few BLTs, ham Italians, and egg salad sandwiches in between. After the frenetic lunch rush ended, the grill was finally empty, the friolators idled hot and peaceful, and the ticket bar sat quiet and vacant of orders. Here it was, my chance to sit down, grab a quick bite, or take my first pee in 5 hours. But it was also the only moment quiet enough in the kitchen to get ahead with prep for home fries and bacon for tomorrow morning's crushing breakfast service. The 10-pound bag of pork on the counter was glaring at me impatiently. I pulled a fistful of the fatty strips from the huge bag and laid them one by one into 4 long rows on the giant griddle that sat center stage on the old diner line. I fried each length until it was just barely brown and stacked it in between layers of brown paper towels to absorb the warm fat, then laid out 4 more rows again, then again and again and again. Every day it felt like an endless task, the sputtering grease pelting my wrists with tiny burns. I couldn't help cringing, even though I was well used to it by now. And then there was the smell of rendered pork fat that came with it. It seemed to permeate every strand of hair, every thread of clothing, every pore. I flat out reeked of bacon. God, I couldn't wait for a long, hot shower, but that was easily 7 hours away. I had more pork to fry and home fries to dice, and then a full fucking dinner service ahead of me. After the last batch was tucked between paper towels, I twisted each of the 4 knobs on the griddle to the right and killed the ignition to the pilot lights below. I grabbed the grill scraper and, using it like a squeegee, began to move the puddles of hot grease down the perimeter of the grill, guiding the smoking liquid to the stainless steel trap in the lower left corner below. Finally, a clean grill, a still empty ticket board, and a moment to sit. Yes. I walked over to the soft-serve ice cream machine that was tucked in the front of the kitchen and pulled on the lever, letting the soft and creamy vanilla squiggles twist their way into the sugar wafer cone in my hand. It took a lot of practice to twist a good-looking cone, but I was a pro by now, after all these years. And then you need to know the difference between a small, a medium, and a large. It was important. It mattered. Believe me, I got bitched at more than once by my dad for making cones too big. "Why don't you just give the fucking place away?" he'd yell. "How many times do I have to tell you? 3 twists around for a small, 4 for a medium, and 5 for a large. What do you want me to do? Work for nothing? 1, 2, 3. That's 3 twists for a small, 4 for a medium, and 5 for a large. Get it?" His anger seemed so wild, so unnecessary, but not out of character. His lack of patience with me had become old news. Meanwhile, my younger sister Nina had been dishing out parfaits and banana boats to her stone friends through the dairy bar window every day after school, and ruining cases of whipped cream canisters by doing whippets, yielding him net nothing. She was younger, so maybe he went easier. Or maybe he was just worn out by his disappointment in me. Finally, I took a perch out back of the restaurant for my afternoon pause. Sitting on an overturned milk crate, I propped my feet on an empty plastic bread rack and lapped up the cold, delicious, and perfect small 1, 2, 3 vanilla cone. It was far enough away from the kitchen to catch a breath, but close enough, still in earshot, to hear the ding of the call bell on the cook's counter should an order come in from the dining room.
Thank you for listening to this clip provided to you by Macmillan Audio. To hear more, look for this title wherever audiobooks are sold.